welcome to this, and we're going to talk a little bit about Smackdown, the last Smackdown before we move to Sci-Fi, which will be interesting to see how many people they lose once they move to Sci-Fi. I imagine wouldn't be surprised if the Hispanic, Latino, well, Hispanic basically, more so, demographic kind of goes down with them moving to Sci-Fi, but maybe not too much though. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, this was the last one, and let's talk a little about the show. Started off with Kane coming out, talking about his victory over Undertaker at Night of Champions. This led to Kane versus Chris Matthews. Listen to me, Chris Matthews. Yes, Chris Matthews, big, fat, political guy. No, Chris Masters, sorry. This led to him taking on Chris Masters, which I was like, this might not be so good. And actually, it was. I'm not gonna say it was great, but it was okay. Felt like it may have gone just a little too long, but for a TV match between these two. But one thing I will say is I don't think you realize how big Chris Masters is until Chris Masters is in the ring with a guy the size of Kane or the Undertaker or another big guy. Chris Masters is huge. It's too bad he's not that better in the ring, but you would think they'd be able to find something for him to do, being that he is so massive. But for whatever reason, he doesn't come off that massive unless he's in the ring with someone equally as large as him, I guess. So, at least in my eyes. But match was okay, I guess, for a TV match, and Kane won. It was pretty much a squash. Chris Masters got some offense in, but it was what it was. And Kane talked about all the stuff that he did to Undertaker, what he was going to do to Undertaker. Did a really good promo. He's cutting some really good promos with this feud. Too bad the wrestling in the feud's not very good, because actually sat down next to some young kid in the crowd, and it was pretty good little promo. Then we had Cody Rhodes come out. He cut a little kind of promo, and then it was Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre taking on the Hart Dynasty. They had an okay little match, a good TV match, I would say. Went out. I guess this was the rematch, and from the pay-per-view, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre went over again. But, maybe they'll actually do something with the tag titles now. I don't know. But it was okay. It was what it was. Then we had Del Rio in the back had hurt Christian, which is going to set up the whole Christian being gone for so long. This then set up, then they did another backstage, setting up CM Punk and Gallows in a match later, which was, kind of set it up. What wasn't great. Then we got Chavo Guerrero taking on Caval. This was a pretty good little TV match. The crowd wasn't too into it. I'm sure you had Chavo out there and Caval, who WWE hasn't given them fans really any reason to cheer for the guy. Caval lost again, which was kind of strange, but the match was good. Didn't agree who went over, but the match was good. And then Del Rio came out, talked about Rey Mysterio, what he did to Rey Mysterio, then talked about Christian, killed Christian some more when Christian came out, which will be Christian going bye-bye since he pulled pectoral muscle and will be gone forever. So, and then we had a handicap match with Kurt Hawkins and Vance Archer taking on The Big Show. Some people are probably going to gripe about this, and that, it's the Big Show taking on, burying another tag team, but this is a jobber tag team, and actually I have no problem with this. This is, these guys mainly wrestle on Smackdown for the most part, so not Smackdown, Superstars, so I don't really have a problem with Big Show going over these guys, so it was what it was. They're trying to push Big Show as like Andre, so, it worked. Then we got, and during all this, they did some skits with the Dude Busters and Hornswoggle, which was actually pretty good, about, SmackDown moving it was kid stuff, but it wasn't horrible kid stuff. It was actually kind of funny stuff, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. So there we go. Then we got CM Punk versus Luke Gallows. This was what it was. This is basically CM Punk going over Luke Gallows. I didn't go very long. Wasn't all that great. Was just kind of there. So there we go. Then we got Dolph Ziggler taking on MVP. This had more to do with the Vicky Guerrero, Dolph Ziggler, Caitlyn angle type thing that's going on. Was an okay match. MVP won by count out because of the Caitlyn Vicky Guerrero stuff, and then eventually the Hornswoggle tricked Vicky to go into the moving truck, and the Dude Busters locked her into the moving truck, and they took her off, only to be seen again on Smackdown. So that was interesting. Then we got the final segment of the show. Now, anyone that has watched my videos for a pretty long time knows that I'm a huge Undertaker fan, Mark. I have been forever, and particularly the old Undertaker stuff. I always really enjoyed stuff like Fake Taker versus Undertaker and the return of Undertaker. I really enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed the match because the storyline leading up to it was really good, and the match was just kind of, there to end the storyline. And even though the match isn't the greatest thing in the world, it's enjoyable to me because it's part of the storyline. And I always enjoyed those weird, over-the-top Undertaker storylines. So keep that in mind as I talk about this. So during the show, they showed Undertaker in the back, kind of in this hallway, sulking, moping, looking like, Undertaker was doubting himself, this, that, and the other. It got kind of old after a while. Then they did the last one, and in the last one, Undertaker's sitting there, a door opens, you see some light, and he says, he didn't want to be bothered. He looks up, and you don't see who it is. He stands up, the eyes roll, he's sitting there looking intimidating. You're like, what was that? We come back, and Kane walks out, he's cutting a promo. Then the Druids come out. Now, the Druids don't mean what they used to mean, because they use the Druids so much now that it used to be, Druids came out, you were like, okay, the heavy shit with Undertaker is about to come out, or come down. Now it happens so much, it's kind of like, ooh, look, it's the Druids. So the Druids come out, they bring out a casket, they leave, they were using, I think, blue lights. So the lights come up, and you find out it's a red casket. Kane's like, oh, this doesn't do anything, it's not scaring me, this, that, and the other. He opens the casket, and who's in the casket? It's Paul Bearer. And not only is it Paul Bearer in the casket, it's Paul Bearer with the urn in the casket. Got a pretty good pop, got a, oh my god, out of me. Lights go out, Paul Bearer sets up, he's starting to say, oh yes, he's got the urn, the lights go out, lights come back up, Paul Bearer's in the ring with the urn, Undertaker's behind Kane, and then the beat down is upon us. And this was a great, great thing. The feud, the storyline of this has been, I thought, very good. The matches, aren't going to be very good. Unfortunately, if the matches were as good as the storyline was, my god, this would be awesome. But that's not what we're getting. This is like classic Undertaker stuff. I like classic Undertaker stuff. I like this sort of stuff myself. I know not everybody does, but I do. And I really enjoy this. This feud has been so much better than I thought it was going to be from a storyline perspective, from a TV perspective, from a pay-per-view perspective. We're not probably going to get too much great out of it. But from that perspective, this was really good, and really just was like, wow, type of stuff. So then we got a little commercial for the first Sci-Fi Smackdown, which they kind of hinted that we're going to see. And I haven't read to see what we're going to get, but they kind of hinted that we might see Rey Mysterio returning to, take on Del Rio. I think they said Cena and NXT are going to be on the show as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out with them moving. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good SmackDown. I thought that, we had good storylines. The matches were kind of, and we didn't have the, usually we get one really good match on SmackDown. We really didn't get that, but we did get some really good story progression stuff. So I'm fine with that. Just overall, I thought I really enjoyed this. The end segment of this was just kind of like, yes, and I enjoyed that sort of stuff. So there you go. With that, I'm out. Have a good one. Later.